The lives of Instagram influencers might seem exciting and glamorous and an easy way to make a living. So can anyone become an influencer in 30 days? Well, Straits Times journalist Jen Lee has been finding out.
Plein feu. C'est moi sous la lumière.
Instagrammers, famous, beautiful, influential. But what does it take to succeed? And how much of what we see on Instagram is fake? Can you take my legs long? That look fake. It is day 30. I have fake smiled my way through this, slept on filters, and spent about US $70 buying fake followers, comments, and likes. I now have about 5,200 followers, which means that I'm officially a micro-influencer. But advertisers aren't exactly sliding into my DMs all that much.
Jen joins me now to share more. Now, Jen, part of the investigative piece is about you trying to become an influencer in 30 days. In doing so, what are the greatest misconceptions that people have about influencers?
Oh, I think I learned a lot. I think the greatest misconception is that it's easy, or that, people who do this thing is, oh, they're just pretty, they don't have any skills, they just look good, and it's, they're lazy, like they don't want to find a real job, which is really, really wrong, because in trying to become an influencer, which I did not really succeed at doing, it's really not easy. It does take a lot of time out of your life, right? Especially a lot of the influencers we speak to don't actually do this full time. So, on top of their day jobs, they are taking weekends out to do photo shoots. And you have to be very committed at consistently providing photos, consistently putting things out onto your feed in order to maintain an audience, you see. So it's really not that easy, and you have to learn to edit your photographs so that, the aesthetic is consistent in the feed, because, if the color composition from photo to photo is very different, it just looks very amateur. So a lot of them, have basic Photoshop skills. For example, you look at Xiaxue's feed, it's very pastel looking, because that's her aesthetic and that's what she wants to do. And you have to be constantly like, okay, now I'm gonna do a story and share about my life, share about this amazing thing that I just ate. It takes effort, because taking a story is effort. Like, you have to take a story, tell people, explain things, So you also have to be very good on camera, because you have to be very willing to speak to the camera, be very willing to explain things about your life, be very good with words. You introduce things like, oh, I use this product and it's great, but you can't just say it's great. You have to explain why it's great, right? So there's like a lot of things involved in it. And I would say that it's definitely not easy, and it's definitely not, just superficial and just like taking a photo, you upload and you're done. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and you have to think about what image you want to craft, and what sort of persona you want to portray on social media.
That said, Jen, for anyone who follows influencers on social media platforms, what should they be aware of before buying into that lifestyle, so to speak?
Well, I think nowadays consumers and audiences are quite savvy. So at least personally, when I scroll through social media, I can kind of tell when something is an ad, when something is sponsored, when something is a free gift, and so on. So I'm not too worried about that. I think if you're social media savvy, if you grew up with the internet, it comes quite naturally to you. I think what people have to realize is that, if you want to become an influencer, if you think like that lifestyle seems amazing, it's not as simple as just, taking pictures and uploading it. People give you free things, people give you products to try, because they believe you have value to their brand, and you have to create that value for yourself. So the creation of that value is actually difficult, and it's not that easy. So it's not as easy as people think it is to gain that sort of lifestyle that an influencer has. And also, I think, young people especially need to be aware that it's not exactly the most realistic to expect that your life will look as perfect as an Instagrammer's feed, because, well, their lives are not as perfect as their feed. That feed is curated for an audience, that feed is curated to market themselves. So of course it would be polished, and of course it will look amazing. So don't I think have overly unrealistic expectations of how your own life should be like. You shouldn't be like, oh, why don't I look so good at the beach? Why don't I look so good drinking a cocktail? Why don't I have all these parties to go to? Like, they have a lifestyle, they have a job that necessitates that kind of life, and they need to look good in order to sustain that audience and that fan base.